Live Pacific Classic Stakes watch along and reaction. Flightline, freak or fraud?
He's a super freak.
All right, welcome to the Trust the Profits Pacific Classic Stakes live watch along and reaction. I'm Matthew DeSantis, failed to menace on Twitter. I'm joined here by Colin Sheehan. Colin, talk to me. How excited are you for this Pacific Classic?
Oh, this is awesome. What a great night in sports. I got my Notre Dame jersey on. They're hanging tight with Ohio State right now. But whenever you get a horse like this with Flightline, you kind of just stop and pause. And you're not worrying about your bankroll. You're not worrying about your money. These are the races that you just sit back and try to hope that you have some greatness that you can watch, similar to how excited I was on Epicenter. I think this is how excited you are on this race, correct?
I am. I've tried to keep it under wraps on social media because Flightline can be a very divisive horse, but I absolutely love this horse. I love the idea of seeing a once in a generation talent. And I know all of the issues that people have with him. I hear them. I even agree with them in many cases, but I still have my breath taken away when I watch him run. So he's going to go out right here to the lead, and they're loading in pretty quickly. So it's going to be exciting to see if anybody tries to challenge him up front.
Yeah, people give that the way he's been handled, but what I always think about is these people know the horses better than I do, better than a lot of people do. And when it comes down to it, that's what's most important. And sometimes we lose sight of that. And here we go. We're off.
Yeah. We are off.
Nice break there. Squeezed a little bit by Express Train, but not much trouble.
Yeah, not much trouble. And honestly, they're running in a line pretty much. Now he's Flightline starting to pull away a little bit, but Stiletto Boy and Extra Hope actually from the inside showing some speed there as well. So Flightline, maybe not having his way, not kind of bolting to the front quite as much, and is going a little bit wide going into that first turn.
He might end up at least 3 wide here.
Yeah, at least three wide.
But he looks like he's fairly comfortable, not a lot of effort being used to get up here.
Yeah, Extra Hope currently in the lead, and I believe that is Country Grammar sitting third on the inside, and then Express Train fourth on the outside, followed on the outside by Stiletto Boy, I think, and then on the inside finally by Royal Ship as last. So now
there he goes. He makes his move.
Yeah, makes a move middle back, and the opening fractions 23-2, 46-1.
This is where it gets really exciting as a horse racing fan, right? Like you're just hoping to watch this right here. Look, here he goes. He's starting to pull away, and now as a fan, we're kind of like, is this just what's going to continue to happen, right?
Right.
Is Country Grammar even going to come close? This is awesome.
I mean, this is freakish if he does this. I mean, this is.
Oh, look at this.
I mean, if he can keep this up, I mean. I'm reminded of Bill Knack talking about Secretariat when he said he thought he was going too damn fast and he thought he blew Belmont. But here he comes. I mean, he's up 10, 12 lengths.
Is he even being asked?
Turning for home. And Flavian's not even asking him. And here we go.
Give him a little push there. He's close to the rail, down a little bit further.
Yeah, he's very close to the rail.
He's on the dirt that's not even raced, but that doesn't matter.
No, that was incredible. Just
awesome. Let's see where the next one is. 4, 5, 6. And it was Country Grammar, I think.
I think it was Country Grammar, yeah. But oh my God, that is incredible.
That was awesome.
That even exceeded my expectations of what he could possibly do.
I mean, that was 5 or 6 seconds before we even saw the next horse. Look at this.
Absolutely. The gallop out. I mean, all of our hashtag gallop out people, just don't even know what to think. So yeah, the official finish Flightline by a mile. And then as you pointed out, Country Grammar second, Royal Ship, rounding out the trifecta, and then Express Train, who we both liked underneath at 12-1 on the morning line, finishing fourth. But man alive, it was Flightline. And then you're right, 6-7 seconds, and then finally somebody else came into the screen, and Flavian wasn't even really riding him hard. I mean, he gave him a couple nudges, obviously, and but I never went to the crop, it looked like, and just kind of it was a hand ride the whole way. So that's just absolutely incredible.
It's so awesome to see this. That's what you kind of tune in for these days for, and what we had talked about as this race was getting going. I said the one way that I might bet a race like this is take a horse like Flightline, do a $10 exacta over the second or third, or I should say the highest odds, right? So
Yeah.
your 5-2 exacta there paid $2. So and Country Grammar was logical against the rest of them, but I mean, look at this is slow motion, so it's not good. It's good. I'd love to count because I counted live about 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah.
And I believe a second is how many lengths?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure off the top of my head. But I mean, he looked like he had that by at least 15 lengths, I would say. So, if not
which would make sense because I was going to say a second is 3 lengths. It's either 3 lengths or 5 lengths. So if it's 5 seconds, that's about 15 lengths.
Yeah. I mean, that's ridiculous. And it's important to point out, Country Grammar went over and won over in Maidan, and like beat Life is Good and beat the best horses in the world on that surface. Royal Ship won last time out, beat Country Grammar actually last time out. Express Train has long been one of the West Coast staples in the older dirt division, routing, and has a multiple grade 1 winner as well. So, and Stiletto Boy, who finished somewhere, maybe he's still trying to run. I don't know where Stiletto Boy is, but that's a multiple graded stakes winner too. So, I mean, this was not a trivial field.
No, and they just flashed the time there, 1:59 and 2. So he was under 2 minutes.
Unbelievable.
Which really shows you everyone was kind of questioning if he could do the mile and a quarter. And how important is this race? Before we get to what he's going to do next, I said the mile and a quarter is so important to his future as a sire, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this just validates what everybody thought. I mean, obviously the Tapit sire line is known for being able to handle distance, all those Belmont winners coming out of that siring line. But yeah, I mean, this absolutely validated what people thought, and is going to lead to a lot of money being spent from a standpoint of siring and stud fees later on.
And one thing I love, we had his past performances here, which we're going to bring in. Hopefully this works properly. There we go. Because one thing I just love about Flightline is if you look at those past performances, right? I mean, he had that little bit of trouble to start in the Met. And other than that, it's basically all ones. And I highlighted there for you the finished lengths, right? So 13, 12, 11, 6. And you're maybe thinking, well, he won a mile. Now he's only winning by 6 lengths. So let's see what happens today. And it's going to be great to, I assume that the number of lengths beaten is going to be the highest that you'll see out there. We said 15 by our count. We'll see how good we are at that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sure somebody on social media has already posted about it, but it is absolutely incredible to see that. And yeah, it'll be interesting because you're right. There was a little bit of not trouble this time, but certainly extra hope. The long shot was up there in the lead for a little bit. So there's going to be a couple of 2s on that running line for him the next time. But that distance to the finish is just overwhelming. So,
what's next for Flightline?
Well, I think considering how lightly raced this horse is and how, carefully handled he is, we're not going to see him again, obviously, until the Breeders' Cup Classic in November at Keeneland. And my question to you is, you are a big fan of Epicenter, who I have to say turned in, until just now, the most impressive performance I've seen in the Classic division this year at the Travers. How are you feeling about your Epicenter stock right now?
Woo! I don't know about that, my friend. So how many do we expect to be in the Breeders' Cup Classic? What do you think the field will be? Because the one thing, look, I can always play against the chalk, right? But sometimes there's just a horse you go, I'm just going to be talking out of my other end if I try to say that there's a horse that's a reason that Flightline won't win.
Yeah.
One thing I will point to is field size. And that's kind of what you do when you look at the Kentucky Derby and you got the horses that are coming out of California, Taba. That was the big question mark, right? Field of 4, 5, 6. So Flightline has faced 7 twice, 6 twice, and 5 once. So not huge fields. I don't have a total sense of the Breeders' Cup field. Do you? How many it'll be? Will it be?
I don't 10? Yet. I mean, certainly we just saw Olympiad earlier today win the Jockey Club Gold Cup. He's going to be going to the Classic. Inevitably, Epicenter will be going there. And obviously Flightline. beyond that, you would assume a horse like Hot Rod Charlie's going to be there. You would assume a horse probably like Happy Saver is going to qualify and get there through points because he's really hit the board in just about every single graded stakes race there is. So from a qualification, yeah, Cyberknife, another one, maybe even Zandon, who probably likes the distance. I have a hard, I know.
Is good, right?
Well, so this is the question: is will Life is Good after that performance? Will the connections of Life is Good say we want to? Because Life is Good's got one speed too, which is to go out up front. And do they see what they just saw and go, we're going to try to challenge that? Or do they go, we're going to go back to the Big Ass Fans Dirt Mile and win that for the second year in a row?
And a lot of those, so when we talk about the field size, what they just saw might have a big impact on that. And he's going to have a smaller field to romp because those horses are going to want to win in a Breeders' Cup race and they'll go elsewhere.
Oh, that's the thing. And I think that's the challenge is they really just have two options, which is they run the Classic or they run the Dirt Mile. And certainly some of the horses we mentioned are really not set up to run a Dirt Mile. I mean, they really do benefit from more distance. I mean, maybe Happy Saver would be better at a one-turn mile, but a lot of those horses, Hot Rod Charlie, Epicenter, obviously, would benefit from going the extra distance, even a horse like Zandon. And I know Vinny, has talked about Rich Strike potentially even going to the Breeders' Cup as well. So, but we'll see. I mean, he finished, I guess, a respectable fourth in the Travers, but that was a dominating performance. And yeah, it'll be interesting to start reading the tea leaves in the next week or two to see what other trainers and ownership groups are saying regarding where they're pointing their horses into Keeneland and whether or not maybe there's another race they're going to be pointing to, or if they skip, not skip it altogether, but if they identify a race like the Clark that comes a little after the Breeders' Cup is the next time. So this is one of those kind of ground-changing, ground-shifting performances where people take notice, and it'll be interesting to see. But I certainly hope for a big field. I want to see him challenged by the best in the division.
Exactly. And don't forget everybody to subscribe because Matt is keeping everybody up to date on the road to Keeneland in his new series on our channel here. And before we go, this weekend is one of the Breeders' Cup Classic future pools. And so I checked it before the race. I checked it now. Flightline is 8-5. Hasn't changed since that race went off. And Epicenter is 2-1. You can't goat me into that. I think I'm going to need like 7 or 8 to 1 to challenge Flightline in that. But a Flightline Epicenter exacta may be enticing if it's not $2 like it was the Country Grammar.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And make sure to, for all the folks watching out there, make sure to like and subscribe. And we have all of the coverage, not just for the Breeders' Cup leading up to it, but Colin, you and Vinny do a lot of stuff every single week, giving out picks at different tracks across the country. So if you're a horse racing enthusiast at all, you got to follow what Colin and Vinny are doing. And as he mentioned, I do a weekly show focused on the Breeders' Cup, and there's a lot of other content in between. So, Colin, any final thoughts on what we just witnessed?
I just say, wow. I mean, I think we watched. This is my first time doing this, watching a show, doing this type of show and watching it live. And I think we picked the perfect one to. I mean, that was easy. It was easy as Flightline made it look, and that is really impressive. And as horse racing fans, you got what you came here for, which is to just watch him. Like I said, when he started to separate, you're like, is he going to keep going or is there going to be a spurt? And he didn't stop. He just kept going. So obviously I wasn't alive when Secretariat ran and won by how many lengths?
23 lengths.
23 lengths. So that's as close as I've seen it in the race like this. So that was really cool. I'm glad we got to do that together.
I am too. I'm really glad we got to do it together, and I'm going to now go immediately back to YouTube and rewatch this about 8 times. I started the show by saying, freak or fraud, and you said super freak, and I think that might even be underselling it. So
I nailed it.
You did. So Colin, thanks so much. And to all the viewers out there, like I said, make sure to like and subscribe.